Hi everyone. My name is Mongera Mutiga and I'm here with another edition of Papa Bear. And this channel is all about fatherhood, all about what it means to be involved in your children's lives as a man, as a father, and to be part of the process of bringing them up as a man. This is another visual, another video, another edition of this. So let's hear it goes. So we've talked so far about a number of things. I wanted to give you a bit of my own personal experience with regard to supporting my wife through the process, the early stages, the early months of our child's life. So our firstborn was born about 10 years ago, and I remember the early stages were a little difficult. Well, at least for me they were, and just adjusting to this presence of this new person in our lives and what that meant for me as a father. It was quite an adjustment. But one of the things that I recall, and one of the things that I think is very important to note, is that I still do, but even then I had a very important role to play in the day-to-day running of the home where the child is concerned. And it's really simple things. So it's things like changing diapers. I had no idea how to change a diaper until I was taught. And to be honest, I had no idea what a diaper looked like. Being able to open it up and being able to participate in that process was very helpful. I know my wife had a lot of good things to say about that. It was a big relief for her. So I ended up, for the most part, being the baby changer. And what happens with kids is that I don't know if your kids are like mine, but my kids had this thing of they would want a fresh diaper. So the diaper would be full of pee, and then as soon as you change it, she poops. I'm like, really? So it's almost like she cannot poop into a full diaper. So we had to keep changing diapers all the time. So that was a bit of a learning curve for me, but I kind of quickly got the hang of it. I think the other thing that I was very much involved in was the milk bottles. So as milk was being expressed, I'd be the one to make sure that it's being stored properly in the freezer, and also that the bottles and all that stuff was being treated properly, because they had to be sterilized every time they're used. And sterilization is a process. There are many different ways we used to use it. We used to do it. I think we had the one where you put water in the sterilizer and you put it in the microwave, and you microwave for about 5 minutes, and then that steam is what sterilizes the bottle. So that's the method we had. I know there are other methods. People use electronic steamers and stuff like that, but we used the microwave steamer to sterilize bottles, which was pretty effective. And it was my job to do that. So I'd have to wash the bottles, make sure that they're clean, and then sterilize them and make sure that they're put away for use. And got to a point where, as the baby got older, where the bottles we had to increase the number of bottles because the production of milk was much higher. So it started from a very, small production every day. It got to a point where we were doing 250 ml per each express session, which is a lot of milk. The bottles had to keep coming. So it was quite an interesting challenge. So I think those are the two main areas which I was very much involved in. I was also involved in the night feeding process. So a big adjustment for me was getting to the point where my sleep patterns are matched with the baby. So at the end of the day, we're trying to get the baby to sleep longer at night. Because if you think about it, this baby doesn't know what night and day is. They don't really know that sleeping for 8 hours during the day and waking up every 5 minutes at night is not ideal. They don't know that. So we kind of have to train them. So we had this whole training schedule that we went through to help. And my role was to do the night feeds. So I'd be up with the bottle. You have to warm it when the baby is up. So you can't keep milk warming somewhere hoping the baby will wake up at some point. When the baby wakes up is when you warm the milk. And half the time when baby is waking up, they're hungry, so they need the milk now. So you kind of have to do a bit of a balancing act as you get the milk ready for the baby who is awake and screaming. But that will be part of my role to just to get that part of the night feed process done. Sometimes, the night process would involve a change of diaper, which is tricky because, once you open up the baby's diaper and she gets exposed, then she's wide awake suddenly because she's cold because of the, you've opened up the diaper. So you now have to balance it out so that you don't get her cold or not too long and then change her. And so there's a whole process that's involved with that. So that was part of the role that I played. I think one of the things that you'll discover, which was what I discovered the hard way, is that sometimes children get something called colic. Colic is basically a buildup of gas in their belly, and at that age they don't really know how to let out the gas. I mean, for us it's easy, you just let it rip. So it's easy for us to deal with gas as adults, but for a child, 1, 2, 3 month old, they don't really know how to deal with that. So it ends up building up in their tummy and it becomes colic and it becomes very painful for them. So they end up spending hours and hours and hours crying, trying to get relief. And that happened to at least one of our kids, and that was really difficult to deal with. As a guy, it's difficult to handle that. But what I realized is that, or what I read about was that colic is basically a buildup of gas. So the idea is that you need to help the child release that gas as they're feeding. So it became my job to burp the baby, and after baby's fed, my wife would give me the kid, and I would be the one to rub her back and try and get the gas out. So yeah, I mean, there's a whole method to it. There's a whole science to it. But at the end of the day, you need to do that, because if you don't, then you're going to have trouble down the road when baby's not able to sleep at night. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just stuff that I kind of learned as I went along. But my basic point is that there was a role for me to play as a man. I'm not just going to sit there or think that I'm the one writing checks, so I'm okay. I had to play a role, an active one, in the process of taking care of his child. And that's something that I think every man should do, or should be hands-on. I know many guys are doing that, and very well. Kudos. But I think, just being there, being willing to do stuff you've never done before, to try things you've never tried before, and to be involved in this process. It's very counterintuitive, raising a child, but you get the hang of it, and after some time it becomes part of your routine. So yeah, I think that's it. So I'm going to be doing more of these, letting you know what my experience was. I hope to get other people involved who have been through this process, who are going through this process, so that we can hear from them. But yeah, if you have any feedback, if you have any comments, please comment at the foot of this video in the comment section. Like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel. Let's get this conversation going, and let's get as much information out there to help guys fulfill their role as fathers. Cheers.